in real estate school, they don't really teach you how to negotiate. So now you take a lot of people who already aren't comfortable negotiating the terms of the contract, and now my money is a part of the terms. Okay, it's going to be like it adds additional stress and frustration.
Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today, not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you, and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast.
Hey, Bestie. Welcome back to the Real Estate Bestie podcast. And today we are going to talk about how to negotiate. So this topic came up because, as you know, right? Not October. I was going to say October. October 17th hasn't passed as I am recording this podcast, but August 17th has passed. It's come and gone. And now we are now in the thick of what is our new reality as it relates to the changes because of the NAR settlement. And, I'm going to be honest and tell you that over the past couple of weeks, like real estate Facebook pages have worn me smooth out because we're still talking about it, right? We're still complaining about the changes. And I think that the agents that are going to be most successful are the ones that are understanding that change is upon us, right? Things are fluid every single day, and how to actually adapt. But it dawned on me that a lot of people that are really, really struggling, really mad about, the way agents and brokers are responding to the coveted question, who's going to pay me? It really comes down to, I think that a lot of the frustration is coming from those who are not as skilled in negotiations. And let me just share some truth with you. Some truth with you is before even all of this started, one of my least favorite activities as a real estate agent when I first started out, and I'm going to say like probably years 0 through 3, was the negotiation process. Negotiating on the client's behalf, whether it was the repair amendment, whether it was the price, it was something that just caused me a little stress and anxiety. And it dawned on me like, oh, okay, so negotiations are not always a natural thing. Sometimes you're just not taught. I know in real estate school, they don't really teach you how to negotiate. So now you take a lot of people who already aren't comfortable negotiating the terms of the contract, and now my money is a part of the terms. Okay, it's going to be like it adds additional stress and frustration. So not here, not on the Real Estate Bestie podcast. I want to just share with you, I think I got about 5 tips here in front of me, and make sure that you stick around and listen to them all, because the last one is really the most important one that you have to be prepared for, on how to negotiate. So as I am recording this podcast, I'm going to tell you that I have now successfully negotiated a couple of contracts under the new terms, and dun, 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 one of them, I was a listing agent, and buyer agent commission came into play. And guess what? It became a point of negotiation. Now, I'm not going to give you all of the details of the actual deal to protect everybody involved, right? I.e., especially my sellers. But I will tell you that it did end up that as we were negotiating price and terms, the buyer agent actually ended up getting exactly what they wanted, but it became a point of negotiation because at the end of the day, what are all sellers most concerned with is their bottom line, right? And in order for my sellers to get to their bottom line, it was just one of these things like y'all got to choose one, right? You can't lowball the price and ask for this amount for concessions. We have to make some adjustments, and we were able to make those adjustments. And I think that we were able to do it successfully because myself and the buyer's agent, right? I think we both know how to negotiate, and we followed some of the tips that I'm going to share with you today. So definitely pull up, let's listen to it. And I am hoping that once you finish listening to this podcast, whether it is negotiating your commissions or just negotiating on the behalf of your clients, you're going to just feel a little bit more equipped on how to go about this. So, all right, here's the thing. Number one, here is the tip when you are negotiating, or something like I need you to remember when you are negotiating, especially in this new post settlement era. You have to be aware and beware of commission breath. Like, you cannot lead any sort of conversation. You can't lead any conversation. You can't lead any negotiation, whether you are looking to secure the listing, you're looking to get a buyer's rep signed, or it's like, what houses are we going to see? We have a fiduciary responsibility to always put our clients' best interest first. Now, I know what you're saying, because somebody out there, you're already rolling your eyes like, girl, I got to get paid. I ain't gonna work. Nobody is telling you to work for free. Okay. And this is the part that really like stresses me out, is that, I can think of a million houses that I've shown clients, and I didn't know going into it if number one, if that would be the house they would pick, if the seller would accept the offer, right? But what is our job is to show them the houses that they're most interested in, and then work to negotiate terms where the numbers make sense for them. So it stresses me out. Like, when I see people, and I've seen it in the Facebook groups, that are saying, my buyers are deciding to skip the houses that are not forwardly saying how much commission they're going to pay a buyer's agent because they don't want to waste their time. Like, you are like pumping your chest, like, you're hurting the listing agent. But really what you're doing is you're hurting your buyer. And even more than that, you're hurting your business because you're demonstrating to your buyer that, hey, I don't know how to negotiate. Okay. And I'm giving this example because I share with you all in previous podcasts, on previous YouTube videos. I will post a link so that you can see the video when I talked about, are you ready for the change? My brokerage is one that is no longer participating in broker to broker compensation. So what that means is that when I take a listing, I am not setting an amount with my seller on how much they are going to pay a buyer's agent, right? Now, we are 1,000,000% having a conversation about, what I'm telling them, hey, just like pricing, this is the price range of where I think we should list the house. Actually, better that, not what I think. Here are the comps, and these are the all of the facts. This is the data that is how I'm coming up with my list price suggestion. Same thing. I have suggestions on what I think, where I think our offers are going to come in at, how I think they are going to be accompanied, the type of concessions that are going to be asked. I think it's in your best interest to prepare your heart and your mind and whatever in your pocketbook, because in this market, I definitely, I give all the benefits of why offering buyer agent compensation is a great strategy to get your home sold. But I'm not setting a number, right? So if you have a commission breath agent who calls me and says, hey, or actually, y'all don't even call. All right, that's too much like, right? They text, hey, is your client offering commission? If you don't like my answer and you decide to not show the house, that is having commission breath. Okay. That is only thinking about yourself, only thinking about your bottom line. And there is definitely a way to protect yourself, but also demonstrate hella value to your client. And if we are only thinking about having commission breath, only what am I going to get from it, then it's going to be a lot more stressful in any negotiation process. And even if we're not talking about buyer agent commission, right? Have you ever been in the middle of a repair amendment and it seems like the deal is going to fall apart, but you all emotional, not because you really care about Susie and buying this house, it's because your bills are due, right? So we have to be able to eliminate that commission breath. And I'm telling you, you think you don't have it, but people, they know. And this is here, you want to know how to eliminate commission breath, is we got to keep the main thing the main thing. The fuller you keep your pipeline, the more you are having conversations, the more you are taking those conversations and you are converting these people into ready, willing, and able buyers and sellers, then if for whatever reason like you can negotiate a little bit more objectively because you're not going to be homeless or you're not going to have bill collectors or all these other things if this particular situation doesn't work out. We have to be able to negotiate from the lens of like if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, because I'm always operating in the best interest of my client. But it's really, really hard to do that when you only got this one thing going, when you only have this one deal, and you have so much personally riding on it. It definitely, definitely, definitely is going to impact how you negotiate. So that's one of the things that we teach in coaching is how to, keep a full pipeline, how to get a lead every single day. If that's something you're interested in talking a little bit deeper with me, head on over to rosemarylewis.com/coach and we can just figure that out, right? But I know commission breath is a thing. And, I used to have it too, right? I used to like be thinking about me, like I calculated my money on the way to the showing, not even with the contract, on the way to the showing. So once you start to eliminate that commission breath, the better position you're going to be in to negotiate effectively. Okay, here's number two, kind of goes along with number one. We have to be able to control our emotions. Okay. I told you all a couple weeks ago that I'm not about to be on the internet arguing about commission. I'm not going to be arguing with buyer's agents and seller's agents. Like there has to be some emotional, some ways to control your emotions. And I'm going to look, let me grab my phone because there we have actually done a podcast on this. And I'm going to make sure that we link it so that you will be able to go back. Okay, I can't find it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time looking for it, but it's pretty much controlling your emotions in real estate because it can feel emotional. And this is why I just suggest the very small habit things like what does your night routine look like? What does your morning routine look like? What, like, are you in community, right? Whether it's a coaching community or if you're part of a team or if you have real estate besties who you can talk through these challenging deals. Can you go for a walk? Can you take a deep breath? Like, we cannot be on 10 because just like my husband tells me all the time, like the woman in the house kind of controls the temperature of the house. And I'm not, well, literally, I control the thermostat. But like the emotional, like we control kind of the temperament of the house, at least at my house, I feel like I do. And the same thing with real estate deals, right? If every time you talk to your client, if you on 10 because of this roof repair, then guess what? Everybody else is going to be on 10. But if you can negotiate, control the way that you're taking information in, thinking through how you're going to deliver that information, and you are a calm, you understand your client's personality so that you can mirror match their personality, it is going to make all of the difference in the world. So we have to be able to control our emotions. I never forget there was a house for sale and I had buyers. We were looking at it. And you know what? The house was beautiful. It was gorgeous, but it was literally $100,000 overpriced. When it came time to offer on the property, my clients were actually paying cash, but I just told them, like, I'm showing you the comps. I understand that this seller just purchased this house a couple years ago, but it literally, like, he's over improved it. And my suggestion is that we present an offer based on what the market value is. So we presented the offer. I had a conversation with them, and we knew like it could go, it may, you never know. He might just say, you know what, I need to get out of it, and he might move on. But I kept it even keel, right? Like, don't get y'all hopes up. Like, let's, we're presenting a fair offer. And eventually, like that agent was so like on 10 about this offer and everything. And she's like huffing and puffing, and he did this and he did that. And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. I know he did all these things. However, the value just isn't there to support it. And if he, he can take it or leave it. If he would like to take it, great. We can close in X amount of days. And if it's not a deal for him, we completely understand. But keeping and controlling the emotions, control your emotions, and then you're going to help control the temperature. And by the way, I noticed that after we presented that offer, that house went off the market. First of all, it was overpriced, but I just imagine that that agent, like even having the conversation about our offer and next steps, couldn't control the temperature. And as a result, house is not on the market. Okay. Number three. Okay. This is a big one for me. When it's time to negotiate, friends, pick up the phone. Especially, I don't care which side of the coin you are on, especially as it relates to our new changes. Pick up the phone. This is the time that we need to be establishing rapport with the other real estate agents, right? We need to create some allies in this business and pick up the phone. Stop texting the listing agent and saying, hey, what are y'all paying, right? Or do you think your seller is going to do this? Or do you think whatever? Like the art of picking up the phone and having conversations is so lost. This is also one of the things that we coach on. It's just role playing different conversations. If you're only prospecting from text, if you think that you can only reach out to your sphere of influence from your mobile device and when I say from your mobile device, I mean like email, text, and social media, then I'm telling you, the agent who is actually reaching out, having these conversations, you're just going to get so much insight, right? Even in terms of, like, first of all, yes, talk about your commission and who's going to pay what and what the sellers are willing to do. But what other insights, what else can you gather about the seller or the buyer scenario based on having a conversation? And what I noticed is that a lot of times, like I know that having hard conversations are hard, but they are much harder when you try to have them over text and things get lost in translation. So this might be the most important one is to pick up the phone. Okay. I received a repair amendment the other day and it was a long one. Y'all ever get those long ones that like they want you to like, mop the floor and like spray the grass. Like it was just so detailed. And I could have, number one, I could have got the repair amendment. I could have not controlled my emotions. I could be thinking about my money, present it to my sellers. No, I picked up, first of all, I picked up the phone and I talked it through to my sellers, right? I didn't just send it over to them. I picked it up and I talked it through. We talked about what was reasonable, what was not reasonable. And then there were some things that they thought weren't reasonable, but I had to bring them into reality, say, okay, yeah, but we're talking about a couple $100 so that you can make a couple 100,000 in a couple of weeks. Like, hey, let's keep the main thing the main thing. But then I picked up the phone and had a conversation with the agent on the other side, and we talked through the repairs. It gave me an opportunity to plant seeds for her that I know she took back to her clients in terms of what was reasonable and what wasn't reasonable. And, but if I try to do all of this over text, things getting lost in translation. There is also a little bit of a language barrier between me and the agent, or not even language because we both speak English, but I would say a cultural barrier between us where picking up the phone and establishing that rapport and like 1,000,000% always reminding the other side, like we both have the same goal is to get our clients successfully to the closing table. That makes all of the difference. And I think that, sending these blanketed texts, what y'all paying? Would a seller do that? Like, pick up the phone. Hey, it's Rosemary. First of all, thank you so much. I saw the listing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Or we're going this evening. My clients are really excited about it. Before I show, I just want to properly set expectations for my clients. Are your clients willing to offer concessions towards buyer agent commission? Okay, perfect. And then whatever else, and even if they, and this is also something I know, and I'm just saying, even if they say, you know what, they're on the fence, how many, like, have y'all looked in the MLS and seen reduced price, right? There are price reductions every single day in the MLS. I bet you that the day that those sellers signed those listing agreements, they did not think to themselves, I'm going to reduce the price in 30 days, right? But when they are under contract or when they are on the market and they have a true need to sell, then sellers will make some changes, right, to get them to their goal. So this is what I'm saying. Even that seller that's like, I absolutely won't pay buyer agent commission, I'm still sending an offer because what I know is what you say you will never do might change when you have a ready, willing, and able buyer ready to close in X amount of days in front of you. Okay. So, but pick up the phone and start having those conversations with the people that you were talking to. Okay. All right. Number 4 on how to negotiate. Be clear and concise and stick to the facts. Okay. I am really working hard to get the words like I feel or I think out of my vocabulary, whether I'm talking to another agent or even my clients, because I want to stick to the facts. Okay. And the fact, let's just give an example, the one that I gave you before about the house that my clients were really interested in it, but it was really overpriced. Instead of me saying, like, she was all, he loves this house and he think, okay, I know what he thinks, but the reality is that it will not appraise out, right? It will not appraise out. And I'm not going to disrespect her and say, you should have told him X, Y, and Z. But I just, I'm sticking to the facts. And now that I'm sticking to the facts and we're staying contractual, I don't have to get all emotional, right? Because the facts are the facts. I can't change them. The fact is that a similar square footage with similar amenities, I agree, yours better, but your better ones aren't going to appraise higher because I talked to an appraiser about it. Sold for $100,000 less across the street. So sticking to the facts and like not getting petty. Well, the house ain't that nice anyway. You know your people need car. What? Stop disrespect. Like stop throwing that underlying shade, right? Sticking to the facts and being clear and concise on what you are negotiating. And this is one that I hear agents say all the time. And this is even before the August 17th change. Well, we need concessions towards closing costs because interest rates are higher. Okay, what does that have to do with my seller, right? I want you to say, you know what? We ran the numbers with the lender. And in order for my buyer to purchase this house, in order for it to be affordable for their family, the mortgage needs to be at X. And in order to do that, we need to buy down the rate to Y. That's a fact, right? That is a fact. That's not because I think, because I know, because I hope. Like, stick to the facts, be clear and concise. And same thing, you're negotiating repairs, you're negotiating, don't get all. I just had one recently where it was like, well, it seemed like they been should have fixed like one of my clients said that because the roof was really old. And it was like, I can't believe that they didn't fix or change the roof out in 30 years. And I had to tell them, well, the fact is that the roof didn't have any damage, right? I don't know about you, but I don't just go and say, you know what? I think that I want to spend $10,000 on my car that is working fine, right? So, like, we're not going to get all emotional and put your logic and things on it. We're going to stick to the facts about what happened. Okay, and then here's the last one when it comes to negotiation. Be prepared for pushback. It's the name of the game, right? The reason that people don't want to negotiate is because we're afraid oftentimes of hearing the word no. And let me tell you something, no is not often a bad thing. Going back to that same deal I told you about, where the house was listed $100,000 more than it should have been, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, they said no. Guess what? We went and found a better house at a better price. Like, it all worked out. But when you are so afraid of the pushback and afraid of no, or afraid, or even better, you're afraid of what you have to say to your client when the other side said no, right? Like, does that mean that I'm a failure? No, it doesn't. Literally, I'm gonna give y'all this one for free. This is normally something I just say in coaching, but I'm gonna give it to you for free. I let my clients know from the very beginning when we are setting expectations. Like, one thing that I am not afraid of is the word no. Now, y'all not gonna have me out here looking crazy, right? Offering $250,000 on a $500,000 house. But if what we are looking for is negotiable or reasonable, that's not the word I was looking for. Everything's negotiable. But if it feels reasonable, if it's in line with market, you just never know. I never forget, y'all. One time I had a client and we were looking at a house it was listed for 1.625 or 1.650. I did the comps, I did the numbers, and it was a very unique property, right? I feel for the listing agent on having to comp this because it was definitely one where there was a range of comps and he came in where he came in. But I still felt like, and because of the strength of my buyer, I still felt like we can negotiate better terms. And I told my client, I was like, you know what? I really think that we can go in at blank number, right? And I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars off of the list price. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm just looking at the numbers. And, because I've talked to the agent, because I understand a little bit about the seller situation, and also just the different things that you all would still need to go in. Like, I really am looking at all the facts. There is a case for us to present to offer at this amount. And I told them, and if they say no, they say no, right? But I'm not afraid to ask. And I know because I coach agents that sometimes we even take the list price like it's gold. And especially in this, like the market that we're living in now, where there is a huge market correction, where people are listing things based on like what it could have got a year or a year and a half ago. If you are not doing your due diligence, then you could be setting your clients up for failure in the long run. But don't be afraid of the no, right? And just understand that in negotiations, it can go either yes or no, right? Or it can be a counter. But don't be afraid to send over an offer if they say, okay, the seller's going to pay 1%. I'm still sending over, and I'm going to let my client know ahead of time. I'm still sending over, like, do you still want to present? You like this house? Okay. And in order to buy this house, we need to have them cover buyer agent commission. Okay. We're still going to send over the offer the way that the numbers make sense for you. And if it makes sense for the sellers, yay. And if it doesn't, then we get to decide, right, if you want to pursue it or if we want to move on. But being afraid of it being a no is one of the things that is keeping a lot of us stuck. And I'm telling you, as we just continue to progress in this business, you're going to have tough skin and be prepared for that. Okay. So that's the one, right? That's the one right there. And there is I do different activities. I'll share this story with y'all another time, but I do different activities where like I kind of set myself up for rejection so that it doesn't, and it might sound crazy. I'm gonna tell you the story. The other week I was in Walmart and I realized when I was in Walmart, all I had was my cell phone. I had just came from working out. I had my cell phone and my car keys. I was running in to get one thing and realized that I did not have my wallet, which is not a problem in most places, but Walmart, because I don't have their app. Well, I know now I know they have an app, but like I use Apple Pay. So I couldn't use Apple Pay because I was in Walmart that day. Long story short, y'all, I walked around Walmart asking people if they could pay for my stuff and if I could cash app them. And guess what? I got my stuff. But only after a few people told me no. Like I literally did not have time to go all the way back home, get my wallet and come back. It was going to just throw off my day. So I was like, so what is going to be worse? Me not leaving with this thing that I need, coming back, or me getting rejected by some strangers. And like that's the worst thing that could happen is that someone said no. And if I didn't buy it, it was a no anyway. And by the way, I got my stuff, by the way. So my whole point is when it comes to negotiations, like definitely like don't shoot in the blank. Don't shoot, like don't have an attitude and all that stuff. But it's okay to shoot, to go for something. And even if the answer is no, I even tell my clients, well, look, I told you I wasn't afraid to ask, and then we'll just go on and move on to the next one, right? And then you also, because you were willing to ask, you are demonstrating to your clients, right, that you are a master negotiator, right? Because some people will never become a master negotiator because you aren't even willing to ask for the thing, right? We go move on from this house that is perfect because I don't know what the sellers are offering. You crazy. I'm going to go to that house. Now, don't like, let's be real. I have already had the conversation with my buyers. They understand what it looks like if they love it because we're already, if we're going, we're already in contract with each other, me and the buyer. So if you love it, we're going to put in the offer with the numbers that make most sense for you, like we have always done. And those are the agents that are going to really thrive in this market. And I want to make sure that you are one of them, bestie. So let's just go over it real quick. The teacher and me, I like to go back over. So how to negotiate. Beware of having commission breath, okay? Keep the main thing the main thing. Keep your pipeline full. And then you're not dependent on that one thing working and you can negotiate with clarity. Number two, control your emotions. Bring it down. You control the temperature and the whole transaction. You might have to even lead the other agent, okay? So you have to keep your emotions in check, like do your yoga, go for your walks, drink your water, whatever you got to do to take care of you so that you can show up as your best self. Okay. And the next one is do not negotiate over text. We are going to pick up the phone and we are going to have conversations anytime we are talking about the money. All right. Or the things that are related to the money. We're going to pick up the phone. Number four, you're going to be clear and you are going to be concise. Okay. And then finally, number five, you are going to be prepared for the pushback. Okay. It is okay if it's a no, but hey, it might be a go. Okay. So if this video and this podcast was helpful for you, go ahead, thumbs up, like it, do all the things. And then just literally send me a comment. Tell me which one are you going to work on? Are you going to work on this commission breath? Are you going to work on controlling your emotions? Are you going to work on being more clear? Are you going to work on being prepared for the no or for the pushback? I really, really want to know, because we are here to help you in the Real Estate Bestie community. So don't forget to subscribe, do all the fun things with the channel, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, bestie.
If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.